Wuthering Waves has revealed their first anniversary celebration, and safe to say the community is not happy. Western and Eastern players are calling this celebration trash. Wuthering Waves has heavily marketed itself on being extremely generous and player friendly, which to be honest was never true. When the game released a year ago, it was absolutely atrocious, filled with bugs, glitches, and other technical problems. The backlash was so immense that they needed to do damage control or risk their new game dying before it even got a chance to truly live. And so the developers ended up giving away a lot of extra rewards such as summon currency and a free 5-star selector on top of all of the planned launch rewards. In version 1.2, they gave away a free premium 5-star character. They did this because the version was a filler patch with very little new content, and what content was there was extremely boring. I don't know if you guys remember, but people were not happy with version 1.2 besides the free character. Do not be fooled. If the game was more successful and well received at launch, none of these extra rewards would have been given away. The truth of the matter is that Kudo's generosity was always conditional. Now that the game is in a good place financially and reputation wise, that generosity is nowhere to be seen. At the end of the day, anniversaries are incredibly important for one core reason: to reward the player's loyalty. Logging in every day, slaving away, farming materials, and upgrading characters, dropping hundreds, if not thousands of money. Anniversaries need good rewards to show gratitude for its players, because if the players don't show gratitude, players will feel unappreciated and leave. These games would not exist without whales, goldfish, and dolphins spending money and free to play players spreading good word of mouth. The developers need us, all of us, more than we need them. We hold all the power, so yes, I and many others expect better rewards. At the end of the day, gacha games are glorified gambling simulators. It doesn't matter how good the gameplay is, how good the story is, how much you like the character designs. At the end of the day, these games are constantly trying to psychologically manipulate you into spending more and more money. It is not greed to demand better free rewards from these companies, because these companies are constantly trying to get more and more from you. If you spend money, they are constantly trying to psychologically manipulate you to spending more. If you spend $5, they want to trick you into spending 10. They want to trick you into spending 20, then 50, then 100, and then 1,000. If you're free to play, they manipulate you into logging in every single day to do your dailies, to do your weeklies, to progress the events, to progress the main story, to explore the open world, if we're talking specifically about Wuthering Waves. They constantly try to force fear of missing out into your brain. These companies are not your friends. They don't care about you. So no, it is not greed to demand better, because these companies do not give a shit about you. You should demand better. You should be greedy. If they want to try to psychologically manipulate you, then you meet them by being just as greedy and demand better. I don't care that you like the story. I don't care that you like the gameplay. You deserve better than what these companies do. It's not a bad thing to be greedy sometimes. You should be greedy sometimes. Let's quickly go over the anniversary. There are 8 events in total. There are 3 login events, the normal 10 logins, as well as one that gives away 300 Ashray and one that gives 10 premium summons. 4 gameplay events. One is various combat stages that lets you equip chibi versions of the various characters, and each chibi has skills to help you in combat. A mode that lets you play as the chibis walking around a small area and talking to other chibis. I'm not entirely sure what the goal is here, but looks kind of interesting, I guess. The return of the roguelike event with expanded gameplay, and this bingo game mode with the hamster. And finally, the main version event is called Night Market. Unknown what the gameplay for this is, but you have to complete various tasks. On top of that, there are also various quality of life updates, which are nice, but those have nothing to do with the actual anniversary. As for banners, there will be 4. Zani and Siakona are the new characters releasing in Phase 1 and 2 respectively. In addition, there will be 2 special anniversary character and weapon banners in Phase 1 and 2, allowing you to select a premium character and weapon of your choosing and summon for them. However, you can still lose the 50-50. It is not guaranteed. For a game that so heavily markets itself as being generous, and a company that claims to care and love their players, this and the rewards are a slap to the face. This is not a player friendly anniversary, it is an anniversary targeting whales. From a gameplay perspective, the game modes seem fun. The little chibis wombo comboing enemies looks like a blast. Personally, I haven't enjoyed the previous roguelike events, but who knows, this one could be better. The main criticism I have has nothing to do with the gameplay or the story or anything like that, it's towards the rewards. On average, Wuthering Waves gives away roughly 100 summons per update, maybe a little less or more depending. Based on what was announced, it seems the anniversary is going to give roughly 130 summons, which is absolute trash. I 100% expect the developers to make an announcement saying that they are sorry for these garbage rewards and that they will be giving away extra rewards as a way to apologize. If, or should I say, when this happens, it will prove what I've been saying since Wuthering launched. Kuro is just as bad as any other gacha developer. What I find absolutely hilarious about this entire situation is that for the past year, Wuthering fans have been bragging about how generous Wuthering is, which again, it never was. They had to give away all of that free stuff to survive. On average, players get roughly 100 summons. For reference, Zenless Zone Zero gives roughly 130 summons. Fans for the past 2 months have constantly talked about how the anniversary was going to be crazy, that they were going to show everybody what a real anniversary is. But now, funnily enough, I've seen some people try to defend these rewards by saying that the players are ungrateful and that Kuro never promised anything and that giving away a free 5-star selector and more summons would damage the company. Man, that's so weird. All of this reminds me of a different game, but I'm not sure what that game is. I just remembered that they had a community that would say the exact same stuff. Genshin Impact. I'm talking about Genshin Impact. Obviously, I'm talking about Genshin Impact. It's so funny to see the Wuthering Waves community slowly become the Genshin Impact community. And before anybody says anything, no, the people who say this are not ex Genshin Impact fans that are just trying to ruin Wuthering Waves and have insane expectations and are stupid and all of that stuff. They're Wuthering Waves fans. Like, I don't know what is up with this bizarre superiority that Wuthering Waves fans have, that whenever somebody criticizes the game or says something stupid, they just deflect. They immediately say, oh, that's not a real Wuthering Waves fan. It's actually an ex Genshin fan who started playing Wuthering Waves. No, it's a Wuthering Waves fan. It doesn't matter what game they played before. A lot of them have never even played Genshin Impact. I've seen plenty of dumb stuff said by Wuthering Waves fans who have never played a mihoyo game. Sorry, I went on a tangent. That whole thing has just really been bothering me for the past year because it's so stupid. The weird deflecting and superiority that Wuthering Waves fans have. Anyways, all of this is complete nonsense coming from people who have no idea what they are talking about. These players are likely pandemic players, people who only started playing gachas because of Genshin Impact or other modern releases, including Wuthering Waves. Wuthering Waves might be their first gacha game, I don't know. They've never played older, actually generous games like Destiny Child. For reference, the only modern gacha with a good anniversary is Nikke. 200 summons given away, as well as a new free character and a massive story update with events for their first anniversary. That is an anniversary, and that was the expectations people had back in the day, if not better. What does Wuthering have? 30 summons in a whale banner. I've seen some people claim that if you do all of the events, you can get 200 summons total. I genuinely have no idea where people are getting this number. The various asteroid from the events are just the usual rewards for events as far as I can tell. I mean, I would be happy to be wrong, but again, I genuinely do not know where people are getting these 200 summons total number from. But see, I think this entire situation is what happens when you treat these companies like your friend. As soon as the "they listened" movement began, I saw the writing on the wall. This story was only going to end one way. The truth of the matter is that these people do not give a rat's ass about you. They can say all they want that they care and love you, but in the end, all they want is your money. I don't blame the actual developers, the people slaving away in front of a computer. but I do blame the people in charge. Personally, I never bought into the hype, and this whole situation is why. First, they essentially abandoned the original dark post apocalyptic world and serious tone of the story because during the betas, the CN players didn't like that the various characters didn't worship the rover. Then they released an unacceptably broken game. Then they desperately claw at redemption by giving away free rewards. And when that didn't work, they doubled down and turned the game into a generic waifu collector where all the women love the main characters and the male characters are abandoned. Like they just do not release male characters anymore. Sure, the storytelling is pretty good. I quite like the Carfefia story and I enjoyed exploring Renacida. But the game has lost all originality and is just another generic fantasy harem game. Wuthering Waves doesn't know what it wants to be. It has no identity. Honestly, I wasn't playing the game that much to begin with. I rarely log into the game. I don't know what it is, but Wuthering was never able to grab my attention. For example, I skipped almost the entirety of version 2.1 because I was just so bored. There was nothing to do. The main draw of that version was the fishing event, and honestly, the fishing event wasn't that interesting. I'm not gonna say it was bad necessarily because I don't think it was, but it just wasn't that interesting. If you've seen my previous videos, it's no secret I like Wuthering Waves, but think it's far from perfect. Looking back at my review I made back in February, I have more criticisms than praise for the game as a whole. But I did praise the fact that the game was slowly improving. Now that the game has earned more respect, more love, more money, are they going to continuously strive for improvement? Or are they going to sit on their laurels and just do the bare minimum, just like Genshin Impact? Oh no, I said the Genshin Impact word again, twice in one video. Other fanboys going to attack me? Oh no! I'm just tired of modern gachas treating players like trash. I'm tired of these games not respecting our time. I'm tired of these stupid fanboy communities licking the developers' boots. Modern gachas have grown in production value, but so many no longer know how to properly reward their players. When we play gacha games, there is a silent contract that we form. We will let you manipulate us by constantly putting fear of missing out into us, constantly forcing us to log in almost every single day and complete so much boring task in order to get summon currency and level up materials in order to upgrade our characters and summon for new characters. And in return, you give us good, appropriate, free to play rewards, especially during the anniversary. That is the silent contract that we form. But it seems like modern gacha games have just forgotten that. And a part of it is because of how much more money they're earning, how much more mainstream success they've earned. And these new gacha players just are stupid. I'm sorry, but they just are. They don't realize how bad they have it. They think all of this stuff is normal. It's not. 110 summons for your anniversary? Are you shitting me? That's insane. Back in the day, that would be unacceptable. That would basically be signing your death warrant if you were a developer. Your gacha game would be abandoned like that. You would be gone. Nowadays, though, that's just the expected. That's the norm. Am I surprised the anniversary is bad? No. Am I disappointed? A little bit. I remember the halcyon days of Brave Frontier and Destiny Child. And these modern gachas just can't live up to those and many others, except for Nikkei. I don't play the game anymore, but I think it's going to have its 2-year half anniversary. And apparently they're going to give away like 180 summons currently. There's probably going to be more. So, wow, Nikkei, once again, knowing how to properly reward its players. That's crazy. Granted, Nikkei still is not anywhere near as good as Destiny Child, and I'm specifically saying that because in case you didn't know, the developers Shift Up, they are the developers of Nikkei and Destiny Child. They're the same team. That's why I keep bringing it up. It's so crazy to me that Zenless Zone Zero is the only like really big high quality gacha game that properly rewards its players. Like I said, on average, it gives away 130 summons, and the anniversary is coming up soon. We're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. It might have a bad anniversary. It'll probably do something similar to what Genshin Impact and Star Rail do, which is just like an extra 30 summons, and that's it. They're not really gonna do any events. But who knows? The developers of, or the specific Zenless team is definitely different from the Genshin Impact and Star Rail team. They do things way differently. They're a lot more player friendly. But at the end of the day, it's not their call. Even if they wanted to give us a good anniversary, if the higher ups, the people in charge like Da Wei, if they don't want Zenless team to do that, they could straight up just force the Zenless Zone Zero developers to only give away 30 summons and call it a day, even if the developers themselves want to do better. So who knows? We're just gonna have to wait and see what happens with that. Similar to Wuthering Waves, am I going to be surprised if the Zenless anniversary is bad? No. Am I going to be disappointed? Yes. To be clear, ignoring the rewards, version 2.3 as a whole seems good. The various event game modes seem fun. I like the one with the chibis where you can like equip them as like pets and they have different skills. Like one of them has a giant laser blast. And what's her name? Camellia? The flower girl with the white dress that's crazy, like the yandere. Her chibi like spins around like a Beyblade and uses a giant sword or something. Like that's, I don't know, it looks fun. The roguelike game mode, who knows? And then, whatever. Like I said, I'm just tired of all of the nonsense of modern gacha games when it comes to rewards specifically. Yes, I do expect better rewards, not just in this game, but all gachas. But it's clear these expectations are just not going to be lived up to nowadays. We just aren't in that era anymore. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Wuthering Waves anniversary. Feel free to share your own thoughts in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like, subscribe, and if you really like the video, become a channel member for just $5 a month. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.